Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the OpenText Live webinar series. My name is Gretchen Wurgis. I'm the Senior Partner Training Manager for OpenText Global Partner Program. And if you have any questions about OpenText, suggestions for future OpenText Live webinar topics, or just have any questions related to this presentation once it's completed, you can contact us at any time at partners@opentext.com. Today's presentation will be in regards to Answer Module's DocuSign integration for Content Server. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone that we do record every webinar in this series, and we will post links to the recording and any associated resources in OpenText My Support, as well as the recording will be posted at opentext.com/events. If at any time during the presentation, if you think of a question for the presenter, I ask that you please type it into the Q&A panel by clicking on the icon at the top right-hand corner of your screen, and someone will be there to answer your questions as the presentation progresses. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Our presenters today will be Patrick Vitale, the CEO of Answer Modules, and Paolo Rimaldi, the Sales Executive for Answer Modules as well. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Paolo.
Hi, thanks, Gretchen. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Paolo. I take care of the sales and channel aspects here at Answer Modules. And as Gretchen mentioned, with me is also Patrick Vitale. He's our CEO and one of the co-founders. Now, I would like to start with a brief presentation to introduce ourselves, provide some background information on our core solution, Module Suite, and give a high-level overview of our latest solution, Module Suite DocuSign extension. After that, I'll hand things off to Patrick for the live demo and Q&A. Okay. So let's dive right in, or before we dive right in, well, let me just leave this disclaimer up a couple of seconds, I guess. Okay. So a couple words on Answer Modules. Well, we are first and foremost a product-oriented company, and we're focused on delivering innovative add-on solutions for extending and enhancing Content Server. Now, since last year, we've joined the Third-Party Solutions Program, and we're also a technology partner, and therefore we are on the official OT price list as well. Okay. So our core solution, which is an add-on module for Content Server, it's called Module Suite. And it's not a single product, but rather a collection of tools dedicated to getting the most out of Content Server. Now, from a high-level perspective, we identify Module Suite with 5 key value propositions. First and foremost, Module Suite can extend the use case scenarios in which Content Server can be leveraged, meaning that Content Server can be utilized in ways that were not possible before, or in scenarios where the effort was far too great to justify. Then Module Suite can also be utilized to improve the end user experience and productivity. For example, we can achieve this by customizing UIs to surface only relevant information, or adding automations and shortcuts that drastically reduce the number of interactions that a user is required to perform in order to get a specific job done. And the Module Suite, it's also utilized to accelerate development. So the tools within Module Suite, they have been created by developers for developers to facilitate and speed up the development of full-fledged applications on top of Content Server. And this is all without the need to know OScript, since everything in Module Suite is based on standard languages. So most developers already have these skill sets within their toolbox. And by considering these previously mentioned values, we can also say, it's safe to say, that we safeguard investments made on Content Server. This is because you can get the most out of your Content Server with a reduced total cost of ownership. And an additional benefit of the Module Suite is that it's actually 100% cloud-friendly. So in the meaning that even when developing the most complex application, neither deployments nor restarts are required. And these values, they surfaced during a customer survey that we conducted, in which the Module Suite customers, they were very coherent in telling us that they were able to reduce their development time and obviously therefore the associated expenses by up to 70%, all while delivering better results, which reflected in an increased level of end user satisfaction as well. So, as previously mentioned, Module Suite is a collection of tools. So let's take a look, what's inside this box. I'll just provide a high-level overview so as to give the base knowledge for when we dive deeper into Patrick's demo. And at the moment, there are three key components to the Module Suite: Beautiful Web Forms, Content Script, and Script Console. So Beautiful Web Forms is an enhancement to the standard Content Server form framework. And with this tool, it's possible to easily create great-looking and ergonomic forms that are also mobile-friendly right out of the box. And besides delivering, let's put it this way, good-looking forms, it's possible to create really powerful forms as well. And this is because we can add some very interesting aspects, such as adding advanced form data validation, integrating any internal or external data sources into the forms, or also making the forms behavior quite heavily dynamic. So being a low-coding framework, Beautiful Web Forms allows even non-technical users to create and manage forms. And this is thanks to the visual drag and drop. What you see is what you get form builder that is part of Beautiful Web Forms. And within this builder, there is a library made up of more than 100 predefined widgets that cover various scenarios and needs, and therefore forms are never created from scratch. And that is one of the main concepts behind Module Suite, is that you're never starting from zero. Then we have Content Script. And Content Script is the first genuine scripting engine for Content Server, and it's actually the heart of the Module Suite. Now, the power and flexibility of scripting is what allows for the delivery of truly complex applications or customized UIs, also simplified and automatized workflows, while also facilitating integrations with external systems. So those are the core aspects of the Content Script, but it's not just related just to those. There's much more. And the last component is Script Console. So it's primarily used for delivering forms to external users, creating secure endpoints for integrations, and for the automatization of tasks. Okay. So today we're here to showcase our latest development, the Module Suite DocuSign extension. And it's a module for Content Server, talk about 10.5 and 16, that's based on core Module Suite components. And its purpose is to dramatically simplify the integration between Content Server and the DocuSign platform. So from another high-level perspective, there are two main use cases for leveraging this component in a signing workflows. So we can manually start a DocuSign workflow directly from the Content Server UI and have the Content Server document signed directly by Content Server users or even by external users. So in this last case, the Content Server documents, they are sent to the external users, and once they're signed, they're actually ingested back into Content Server automatically. So what this does is eliminates the time-consuming need to manually download and upload the relevant signed documents. And the same concept can also be applied to an automated signing workflow. So applied to an internal Content Server workflow, in which multiple DocuSign signing workflows are orchestrated. So in this case, again, the attachments are sent and signed by both content server and also external users as well. So there are 3 key elements that we've introduced in order to achieve the simplification of this integration between content server and DocuSign. So first and foremost, we've introduced over 40 new APIs, and these are dedicated to integrating with the REST interface of DocuSign. And this what allows is to have signing envelopes created and managed directly within any content server application or any content server workflow. Now, we've also introduced into Beautiful Web Forms the envelope definition widget. And this highly configurable widget is used by form users to create and manage signing envelopes directly from their content server UI. And finally, to allow that almost real-time integration between content server and DocuSign, and therefore that automatic ingestion of signed documents by external users, we've been able to implement the concept of DocuSign Webbook. So these 3 components, this is what really drives the solutions and the benefit it provides. Okay. Now, the primary feature of the module suite DocuSign extension is, without a doubt, its ability to create and manage a signing envelope with the associated content server documents and assigning the signature roles directly from within content server. So what truly stands out is the ease of use in creating and managing these signing envelopes, but even more so, it's actually the level of automation that is introduced by making the signing process extremely smooth and also, more importantly, quite seamless. So for example, during the signing process, we are automatically collecting and persisting information without the need for user interaction. And this is really appreciated at the end of a signature process. For example, when a new version of that signed document is automatically added to content server. Also, by tracing the events of the signature process, we're able to provide users with the information to oversee and manage specific or multiple signature processes. So, for example, through a dedicated custom dashboard built in Module Suite, a manager or whoever could have a good overview of what's going on with these processes, what's their state, etc. So, to recap, the Module Suite DocuSign extensions, the value that it delivers, it can be described in essentially 2 keywords: seamless and automation. In fact, this is what will stand out during Patrick's demo. So on that note, let me hand things over to Patrick. We'll dive right in.
Thank you, Paolo. So in this demonstration, we're going to cover the 2 main usage scenario described by Paolo. So first of all, we're going to start with a standard content server workflow in which we want to collect some documents and have them signed by both internal and external users. So here we have a very simple dashboard for managing this process. We have the description of the process and a couple of other tiles. So everything you're going to see during this presentation is made with Model Suite. Even these dashboards and all the integration that you're going to see is made with Model Suite. And one of the great parts of Model Suite, in my opinion, is that allows you to create very complex and very complete application even on the Smart UI, and to have a very complex kind of interaction featured directly to this Smart UI. So to describe very briefly the process, so we will have a content server standard workflow in which we are going to collect some documents. So we are going to start with a form. Then we are going to move these documents to two steps that will be performed using standard content server web forms and by content server user. So it's something like an internal step, okay? And at the end of this first two standard content server workflow steps, we're going to create and to orchestrate a DocuSign signing workflow in which we are going to send these documents both to a content server user and an external contributor, so to collect both the two signatures. At the end of this, when these two users will return us the signed document, we are going to send the information over to another content server user, for which we're going to start for an additional signing workflow with just a subset of the documents that we are collected. So basically, the idea is that we are going to collect some signatures, and we need additional signatures for a specific document that were part of the bundle. So basically, you will see a content server workflow that is orchestrating multiple signing workflow on DocuSign platform. So as I told you, everything starts from a very simple form. So I have a beautiful web form view that allows me to collect information. So I can here specify the first approval, the second approval, etc., and all the information regarding the different business partners I want to send my documents to. And I can specify the kind of request I have to manage, either with 3 documents or 4 documents, etc., or I will preload everything for demo purposes with a bunch of documents that we already have predefined. So I can select my user, and basically these will be the 2 users that will perform the action on content server, and this will be the user that is going to receive, so an external user that is going to receive the documents by email and will basically interact just with the DocuSign platform. So what I can do is to submit my workflow, starting it. I will redirect it back to my dashboard, and here you can see we have all the workflow running with the different steps in which we are. We can filter the steps, and we can look at our steps. So this is the one that we started. Since it's a task assigned to me, I can manage it. So this is our standard content server steps. I can review the documents, I can download them, etc. And I have just to verify them and send them on. And we are on the second step here. And once again, I can just open my tasks. When I will submit this task and sending on the workflow, automatically a new signing DocuSign workflow will be created. So I can just verify it. What the system is doing is creating such a new DocuSign workflow. The information is returned to me, so you can see now we have a step assigned to the general manager, this one, and we have as well another step that is waiting for the information to come back from the external user. So what we can do is to look at our DocuSign dashboard, so dashboard that comes with this integration, to look at the envelope that we have created on the remote platform. So basically, we store locally on content server some information regarding the envelope that you have created to keep track of them and to allow you to manage them directly from within content server. And for the envelope that we have just created, we can see, we can look at the process, so the workflow in which we have used and we have created the envelope, so we can go directly to the process to see where the process is. We can see the number of recipients that we define with the envelope and the number of documents. We can go deeper, look at the different documents that have been attached to this signing workflow. We can see the different recipients, their type, their order, their status. And as part of our integration, we also keep tracking the audit trail of each document, the DocuSign envelope in which the document has been added, and so that later on you can, through the audit trail, look at your documents and look at the information that are coming from DocuSign regarding the signing workflow that has been used to sign these documents. So what I can do now is go to the my standard content server step and take my workflow step directly from content server. So this is since we have to sign the documents in this step, I have the possibility to sign the documents. So what I can do from here is to click on the sign button, and the system is automatically redirecting me on the DocuSign platform. I am already authenticated since I'm content server internal user, and I can go to my documents and sign them and complete my job on DocuSign and click on Finished. And once I have finished my job on content server, I will redirect it back on content server, where the possibility to sign obviously is gone, and I have only the possibility to send on my workflow step, so I can just send it on. Okay, so as you can see here, the task is gone while we are still waiting for the external user to complete his job. So if you go back to the dashboard and we refresh this information, you will probably see that, okay, so last modified, and we look at the details. Okay, so as Paolo told you, we implement the concept of Webbook, so the integration with DocuSign is nearly real time. So DocuSign sends us back the information about the action taken by each user and the new version for the signed document. So we have basically already synchronized back the information for these users, and if we go to the audit trail of this document, we will see that the document has been signed on the DocuSign platform, and the envelope in which has been signed, and the user that signed the document. And obviously, if you look at the versions, a new version has been added with the signed document. So what we can do now is to go on my email, look at the email we received as an external user, and to go on the DocuSign platform and to complete my task directly from the DocuSign platform. And I will have to sign all these documents and mark it as completed. And in a short while, this information will be synchronized back on content server again. So you have seen now that the document, so the workflow has moved on to this additional step. So we have now an additional step, and in this step, as I told you, we have created a new signing workflow just to sign the security form. So security form was already an attachment of the previous workflow, signing workflow. We just took this document and we have created a new signing workflow just for that document, assigning it to, this time again, an internal content server user. So if we refresh our dashboard, we'll see that the first workflow, signing workflow is now completed since all the recipients took directions, and we still have a new signing workflow attached. And by the way, their workflow, so the content server workflow is the same. So this is exactly the same content server workflow that we looked for previously. So as I told you, you can, through content server workflows, you can orchestrate multiple DocuSign signing workflow. So if we go back to our dashboard, I can look at my task here, and I can take the action. So very similar to the previous one, we have access to all the information that are stored in the web framework. I have access to all the workflow attachments, but I'm required to sign just one of these documents. So I can go and sign it, and I can take the action I need to take, and that's it. So I can send on my workflow, and the documents will be archived as part of this application into a specific location into my content server. So we do not have any longer the information, the step waiting for the external users. We do not have any longer any step here. So basically, if we go to our dashboard and we refresh it, you can see that also this workflow has been marked as completed, and so the documents have been archived. So if we look at these documents, you can see that they've been archived into a specific position as part of our content server workflow. So this is the first example of what you can do and what you can achieve with this integration, and was basically a standard content server workflow that was making use of our web forms and scripting solution in order to orchestrate multiple signing workflow. We have a first signing workflow with multiple documents, and we have a second signing workflow with just one document. The first signing workflow also involved both content server internal users as well as external users. The second signing workflow was just for a content server internal user. So what we can do now is to look at a different usage scenario. So we have seen it, how to use this stuff within a workflow. This is not always the case, so you might want to work directly with documents, and the solution is flexible enough to allow you to work directly with documents. So we can go to this folder in which we have a bunch of documents already loaded. Okay, so each one of these documents has a category attached to it. So we have a distribution category and saying this is internal legal that is working on this document, and this is the business partner email address. We might want to send the document for signature, and this is true for all the documents into this folder. So we have the same category applied to all the documents and to the folder itself. So what we can do from here is just selecting a couple of documents, and using a button that we have added through Model Suite, we can just send these two documents to our business partner to be signed. So we are starting a signing workflow for each document. So if we go back to our email address, we can see that we have received document number 3 and document number 2. So we can review these documents and we can sign them. So as an external user, in this case, we didn't specify any configuration, so the user is free to put their signature wherever they want. And the nice thing is that through this dashboard, we can also keep track of the status for each document. Obviously, through the DocuSign integrated dashboard, we always have the possibility to look at the different envelopes and signing workflow that has been created. So we have 2 new envelopes here. Each one is made with a single document, so we can refresh them. One is already completed, so if you go back here, directly from this view, you can look at these documents and seeing that the second one has already been signed, while the first one is just sent, waiting for the external user to sign it. And as I told you, obviously the system automatically synchronized back the version. So if you open the document, you will see that we have the document signed and with the information provided by DocuSign regarding the signature. Another possibility is to let the user specify and create an envelope directly from within Content Server. So we'll see later the API have been designed to work in the domain of Content Server typical applications. So you're going to dealing with nodes, documents, categories, and so on. And at the same time, we'd like to have a user experience for creating an envelope from scratch that is quite close to the DocuSign one. So if you are a DocuSign user, you will find your way very easily on this integration. But at the same time, we want to provide you a very high level of flexibility, so you can really decide what your users are entitled to do with your solution. So what I can do is to select a different bunch of documents and through this other button, open a new form that we are going to use to create our new envelope. So through this form, I can provide a set of information. I can even just, so we have the 3 documents that we have selected. We can specify the different recipients. So I can decide which role to assign to each recipient. I can specify new recipients, so I can add new recipients, either internal, so I can look for content server users, or external, so I can just specify their name, their email address, etc. So everything is obviously validated, so you have to specify valid email address, etc. I can remove things. I can directly from here look for content server, in content server to look for additional documents to add to this envelope, or I can just drag and drop them from my file system. So I've just added a new document to be added to this envelope that I'm going to create. So once you have done that, you have just to decide the user you want to send this envelope to. So this will be my business partner, and will be John Smith, and the email address will be always demo@sormonduos.com. Please sign and return. Okay, so here I have 2 options. I can either create the envelope and just send it, or I can create an envelope and finalize it on DocuSign. So I can basically configure the envelope, finalize my envelope on DocuSign. So the envelope has already been created on Content Server. The documents has been moved to DocuSign platform. So if you go here, we can see that we have now a document created, a new envelope created with the documents that we have attached. So we can go, back to my DocuSign platform and specify whatever we need. So for example, for the NDA, we might want our user to sign here. So we can just put the signature here, and we can put the date signed here, okay, and then send it. So the system is automatically sending this envelope to the user, so we can keep track of what is going on directly from this dashboard. We can go back to my email, and I should have received, okay, my request for signature. I can look at my documents and obviously provide information, so I can just sign it, and that's it. So, and in this case, since we have, for example, added a Word document, when the system is going to synchronize the information back, it's going obviously to add a new version to the Word document, and it's going to substitute it to a PDF rendition created by the DocuSign platform. So we have just to wait for the completion. The document has been rendered. So as you can see, the MIME type of the NDA document has been changed. So if we go back to my documents here and I reload this page, you can see that we have now all the documents have been signed, and they are rendered as PDF. So to go and see a little bit deeper into how we did it, how we created this stuff, so I'd like to open the form builder. So the form builder is the visual editor that you can use to create your forms, and the form builder, this form is the one that you have looked for when we open this configuration. So basically, this is the very same form. So we have our Save View documents, which is a sub-view. So we have another view that is displaying basically the information regarding terms and condition, and a standard content server node widgets. well, in this case is a widget of ours, so a content script nodes widget. And we have the DocuSign widget that you can use to configure your envelope. So creating, and this form is as simple as taking the widget from the library and dropping it wherever you want, and then start configuring it. So the system is automatically generating for you all the code needed to manage the envelope creation and management. And you have the flexibility to say, for example, from here, maybe you don't want your user to be able to use other roles, but the signature role. So here you can see that we have different roles available here. If I reload the page, since we have updated the information, the roles are gone. We have just this one. You might not want your user to be able to provide additional documents. So only the documents that you have already selected can be sent as part of this envelope. And here it is. So in this case, I have to create programmatically the envelope since I can't specify any document. Or I don't want to see the preview. I don't want my user to be able to manage the recipients. I can just save my views, and I can go back here and reload this page. Okay, so I have just the possibility to specify the envelope messages, etc. So it's highly configurable and very easy to use and to be implemented. And the scripts API are as simple as well. So you have a DocuSign service that you can use from your script, and they work basically in the context of content server. So in order to add a document from content server to the envelope, you can just create the envelope and then pass the document you want to add, and the system is going to manage everything is needed to actually add that document to the envelope automatically. So we have left a couple of minutes for question and answers. And so if you have any question, this is probably the right time to ask.
All right, just a reminder, if you do have a question, you can enter it into the Q&A panel. We have a few questions that haven't been answered, so I can ask those out loud. How will external users be authenticated when receiving the document the first time?
So they are, the authentication is for external users is managed directly by the DocuSign platform. So it's by email and by mail, I think basically by their email address. I think there is also other possibilities as far as the authentication is concerned. So whatever the DocuSign platform allows you to do is feasible through the content script API that we are exposing.
Okay. Can you send the same document for signing to multiple people? In other words, if you have 100 people that have to sign a document and you want 100 documents back signed.
Absolutely, yes. And this is one of the great plus of having the scripting solution available. So as you have seen, we can either send multiple documents to the same user, the same document to multiple users. And since you can combine them to the flexibility offered by the script, you can work, for example, with categories. So you can look for recipients into categories. You can look for recipients into a database. And you can create very complex automation around both the DocuSign API and all the other APIs offered by Content Script.
Has this platform been used in a validated environment by life science customers?
Not yet.
Is there a reminder functionality if someone has not signed within an agreed period of time?
Yes, it's definitely possible to do that. So again, the model suite offers you plenty of these possibilities, so it's super easy to create reminders and any sort of escalation policy that allows you to keep under control your workflows and any other kind of time constraint you might want to apply to your tasks.
All right. Would this implementation need would it need a separate DocuSign license?
Yeah, you're making using of the DocuSign platform, so you need the API license for DocuSign from DocuSign.
Okay. While I'm waiting to see if we have any further questions, just a reminder to enter that into the Q&A panel. I will let you know again that within the next 48 hours, we will be posting the link to this recording on our opentext.com/events page, where you can view not just this recording, but any of our past webinars. You can access those at that location. All right. For one of our clients, we are integrating DocuSign. I'm sorry, that's not a question. Hang on one second. I understand that DocuSign renders documents. Apologies, the screen just jumped on me. I understand that DocuSign renders documents only when the document has been sent for signature. Can we use it as a global rendition application like AdLib?
It is not designed to do that, and I'm not sure that it is really possible to do that.
Is the API license based on a named user license or a site license?
So this is again, this is more relevant for the DocuSign platform. So this is something that we do not cover. So what we cover is the integration from content server to DocuSign. So all the DocuSign aspects are very related with the DocuSign platform and managed directly by DocuSign.
Okay. Would it be possible to exchange e-sign? One second. Would it be possible to exchange e-sign? Apologies, my screen jumped again. Would it be possible to exchange e-sign steps in existing WFS with DocuSign without changing the complete WF?
Well, would be possible probably. So we also have an integration for the OpenText design model that works quite similar, so allows you to perform the sign steps directly from web forms. But basically, it's possible because what you need is our content script extension for workflows, and once you have it, you can put an additional content script step within your workflow in place of the sign step, and that content script step allows you to perform the DocuSign step in place of the previous design step.
What other base modules are required for DocuSign to work?
So as far as the integration is concerned, the only requirements, so we have two different kinds of bundles. So we have an extension for Model Suite. So customers that already purchased the Model Suite can buy just the extension. And we have a standalone offer for this integration, which basically comes with a lightweight Model Suite version, which feature only the APIs required to make this integration work. So the only requirement is basically Model Suite.
Is it possible to leverage the use of templates through this extension?
Yes, it is. So basically, we have designed the API in order to simplify dramatically all the most common scenarios, but you can basically leverage the entire set of API exposed by DocuSign. So any kind of scenario or any kind of envelope you want to create, with this integration is definitely possible. So again, simple things can be done in minutes, but you still have the possibility to do the most complex thing. So template is something that is quite simple and is very easy to be used with our APIs.
Can you give a brief background about OpenText DMS solution?
Well, I think this is quite not in scope of this presentation.
Okay. All right. All right, I think that is all of the questions we have. I believe there's a, Patrick, if you want to go to that last slide that has your contact information on it. If you do have a question, you can always email us at any time at partners@opentext.com, and we'd be happy to get the answers to those questions for you. Patrick and Paulo's contact information is there. If you'd like to contact them directly. Patrick or Paulo, do you want to say anything to conclude?
No, just thanks everyone. If there's any additional questions or you'd like to have some additional information, just reach out to us. We're always available and always happy to help.
All right, great. Thank you so much, everyone, for your attendance. Thank you to Patrick and Paulo for your presentation, and have a great day.